Q92.9, my name's Slick. We're here with Chef Michael Ollier. I got it right, didn't I?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Lovely. He is Senior Corporate Chef for Certified Angus Beef, and we're talking about this lovely roast in particular, right?
Yes, we're talking about a rib roast. A boneless rib roast we picked up from Market District. You can get it at Giant Eagle or Market District. Certified Angus Beef brand. High quality. So that's what we're talking about.
Well, it smells fantastic, I can tell you that right now. You can't get the aroma through the lens, but I wish you could. But let's talk about it, and let's talk about why a roast in particular. Why is it good for the holidays?
Well, it feeds a lot of people, right? And it tastes delicious. So when you have a roast in the oven, it just kind of permeates through the house. It's just like wafts of smoke out the window. People are coming in from neighbors across the street are coming in because it smells so good. At least that's what happened when we do it in our oven. Yeah.
And how long does a roast usually take?
Well, it depends on the size. So it could vary from half hour to 2 hours, depending on the size of the roast.
That's why I think it's perfect for holidays too, because you do your prep, you get it all seasoned up, you throw it in the oven, and then you've got a million other things you've got to go do.
I'm glad you said that because seasoning it beforehand is kind of key if you want to develop bigger flavor. To put a rub on it the night before, and then you put it back in the refrigerator, and you're going to get more powerful flavor when you roast it the next day. Yes.
I'm getting hungry right now. So what you said this is a rib roast, correct?
Yes, yeah, boneless rib roast. So a standing rib roast would still have the bone attached to it, so that's often called a prime rib. This would be the boneless version. So a lot of people like this because they don't have to negotiate those bones when it's carving time.
And what other types of roasts would you use? What other cuts of meat would you use for a roast like this?
Oh yeah, it's a good question because there are a lot of options when it comes to roasting. About 10 that really work well. We call them middle meats typically because they kind of hang out in the middle of the animal originally. And so think of tenderloin roast, sirloin roast, the rib roast, the strip roast. Those are all good ones to throw in the oven.
And when we're shopping for one of those roasts,
yes,
what are we looking for specifically, visually, on that cut of meat?
That's a good question. I mean, how do you know what quality looks like when it really,
right.
The rubber meets the road? Look for the abundance of the little white flecks of fat within the lean. It's called marbling, and it's the single most important indicator of high quality. So, look for the Certified Angus Beef logo and you'll know for sure, but really look closely within the lean and compare one to the other and look for the abundance of that marbling within.
And what's that marbling do during the cooking process? This is my favorite part of it.
Yeah, so what happens when it cooks, the marbling kind of lubricates it, it'll slowly melt. And that way that juiciness, tenderness, and flavor is in every bite. That's why it's important to have it within the lean.
Yeah. That's what makes it good, that's what makes it juicy, that's what keeps it moist.
Juicy, flavorness, yeah.
My mouth's watering right
tenderness.
Now. Certified Angus Beef it's more selective than USDA Choice or Prime. What makes it different? What sets it apart from USDA Choice or Prime?
Okay, so when we talk about marbling, that's kind of where we are with Select, Choice, and Prime. That's the USDA grading system. But we go with 9 additional standards, so 10 specifications have to be met, including sizing and carcass characteristics, we call them. But the important thing to remember is we've got so many more strict standards. So in real numbers, okay, we have an Angus genetic cattle that can qualify for our brand. So this is Angus to start with, but only 3 in 10 of those Angus cattle can meet our brand because of those specifications.
Wow. Now, when you say that there's 10 exacting standards that it must follow to be Certified Angus Beef, are those the standards you're talking about?
Yep.
What are they?
Those are the 10 standards. Well, the marbling is the most important one to remember. And then you've got sizing specifications. You've got aging, so A maturity cattle can only mate in our brand. And so, for example, in USDA Prime, you can have B maturity. So ours would be just A maturity, so the younger, more tender.
Which is what you want. You want that piece of meat that's just going to fall apart when you cook it. When you cook it properly. Now, you've made this whole big meal for the holidays. It's been in the oven for 30, 45 minutes. The whole family's eating. You've got your sides in there. Next day, what do you got?
You have leftovers, right?
What do you
hope?
Right.
You hope you have leftovers. Well, maybe you don't.
See, it's just me and my girlfriend in the house, so I always have leftovers. I make roast all the time for that reason, because then you can eat it for the next 3 or 4 days.
That's a really good point, because if you're going to take advantage of the energy you use by turning on the oven, all the resources it took to buy an extra pound or so and put that as part of your roast, knowing that you're just cooking for 2, cook it for 6.
Yeah.
And then, a roast size for 6, and then you'll have leftovers. And you can slice those thin for roast beef sandwiches. My go-to for anything leftover beef is tacos. Anything tacos, right? Tacos.
You can't knock that ever.
You slice it thin, sear it, saute it, whatever. It could be a stir fry, it could be tacos. There are so many options. You could just dice it and then just have it as part of a salad too. So many options to have powerful protein.
And that's meal prep, easy, right?
Yes.
Everybody's always on the move. Everybody always wants something good to eat. So that's meal prep. It's already done for you. You just have to heat it back up in whatever form you have it.
Exactly. You're a connoisseur. You know your stuff.
I did a little bit of culinary school, Chef.
Did
you? A little bit.
Man, you could teach me a few things like that.
That I doubt. But you should look for Certified Angus Beef brand at Giant Eagle and Market District. And you can get recipes, cooking tips, and more at CertifiedAngusBeef.com. Chef, thank you so much.
A pleasure.
And thank you for this.
Let's enjoy it.
Let's go eat.
All right.